And tonight, the war against ISIS suffers a major setback. An Air Force general is court-martialed for talking about Jesus. The Clintons continue to bring in huge money from speeches, so why is the former president worried about paying the bills? And some GOP presidential candidates are having a hard time explaining their position on Iraq. We'll explain why. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And tonight on The Wrap, great panel to join us this evening, including my co-host and Sirius XM radio star, Rick Unger.
Radio star.
Video did not kill the radio star.
Kill the radio star?
That's true.
What?
To his right, Philly attorney Heather Hansen joins us once again. And finally, author and former Navy SEAL Carl Higbie is here. Good to see you, sir. Busy, busy night, everybody. Let's go to the Daily Download. And we begin with what the Obama administration admits is a setback in the war against ISIS. Over the weekend, in Iraq, the terrorist group captured the key city of Ramadi, just 80 miles west of the capital city of Baghdad. The State Department is vowing to help the Iraqis take back their city.
We are supporting the Iraqi security forces and the government of Iraq with precision airstrikes and advice to the Iraqi forces. Our aircraft are in the air and searching for ISIL targets, and they will continue to do so until Ramadi is retaken.
Republican Senator John McCain, chairman of the Armed Services Committee, a constant critic of the administration's foreign policy, says the impact could be long-lasting.
Well, the fall of Ramadi, I mean, it's huge, and the impact on the psychology of the people of Iraq. And finally, the Prime Minister Abadi has said they're going to have to send Shia militia. You know that Shia militia and Sunni in Anbar province are absolutely enemies, and Shia militia is now controlled by the Iranians.
The fall of Ramadi comes a day after a significant victory for the U.S. military. On Saturday, commandos killed a top ISIS leader in eastern Syria and captured his wife, an operative with ISIS. So, Carl, how significant is the fall of Ramadi in the war against ISIS?
Huge, absolutely huge. It's on a main supply line. It's another major city, one that we fought very hard, one that we put a lot of money, a lot of lives into building up that infrastructure, maintaining any type of stability there. And if we were going to put boots back on the ground, Ramadi would be a key hub of ours for supply lines and just from the helicopter airfields and all the buildings we put up there.
You mentioned boots on the ground. You think that's something we'll ever see in the near future?
Well, I mean, this is the first time Obama has admitted any fault to anything, so that he's actually said, you know, this is a major loss and it's a step in the wrong direction. And I keep saying we can't continue to trade one ISIS leader that we hit with spec war for a single city. So, I mean, we are losing this war, and it's because we don't have boots on the ground.
You mentioned, Rick, I think it was about a month or two ago, that sometimes we should be, when are we going to know whether we're making progress against ISIS or not? And one of my arguments was that, well, like other wars of the past, like World War II, a city would fall. Right. And in this case, a city fell.
Yeah, and this is one of those rare times where I'm going to agree with most of what Carl said. Look, you know, if you have the memory, you know how hard we fought and how many people we lost in Anbar province, which is where this city is.
Particularly Fallujah.
Right? Yeah. This is not a good thing. Now, John Kerry is saying today, if he's to be believed, that the situation is still fluid, that the city's not lost. But you know what? I see a lot of people that are being murdered, and I see a flag flying over there, and you know, hopefully it's fluid, and hopefully we can get it back. This is not a good thing. But I don't want us to forget that what happened a few days before that with killing this accountant and guy who was running the oil business for them. This is a very good thing. I wish it could have been a good story all the way around this weekend, but I do have to agree, one bad guy being killed is not the same as losing a city.
Heather, I wonder how the American public reacts when they hear that an ISIS leader or a key ISIS operative has been killed, because it seems that all these guys, we don't know names anymore, Right? In World War II, you took out Hitler, all right, the war's over.
Right.
And with Al-Qaeda, you took out Osama bin Laden, and then, wow, that's a great thing. Here, it seems we kill these guys, and somebody with a very similar name pops up, and then they just go ahead and take a city anyway. It just seems like it's an endless supply of leaders.
Well, and isn't that the nature of the fight? I mean, we've talked about that. It's an endless supply of terrorists. You know, it doesn't even matter what name they go by. But I do worry about the administration. You talk about John Kerry. 5 days ago, the State Department came out to TV stations and said, rather than rolling what they call B-roll, which is the video that they show of ISIS.
Generic video.
Right. And rather than rolling what you've been rolling, it's not like that anymore. We've overtaken them. We're winning. You should not be rolling them out in public and so forth and so on. And first of all, you don't like to think that the administration is controlling what the media is playing. But second of all, I don't know that they really understand what's going on there. You know, well, 5 days later, the city falls.
Yeah, but you know what? It happened relatively quickly, I believe. So 5 days ago, it might have been a different story. Right. It's not a good situation, and you know, it's no surprise that it's no secret I've been a bit hawkish on this whole thing. And you're absolutely right. You know, you can take down one of these guys, 5 more. It's like Hydra. You know, going back to my old days with the Avengers, right? You know, 2 more heads will spring up. It's just the way it is. And that's why this war is not going away quickly, folks.
So that's what's surprising now also, because we were talking about taking back Mosul, which is the second largest city in Iraq.
With the dam.
Right. And that's everything, right? Because they could blow up that dam and they could flood, you know, and just wipe out, you know, tons of people. Does this put Baghdad at risk in any capacity? Because now this is only 70 miles away. Right. It gives them a foothold in the major city. Is it just time to circle the wagons? We actually have a map around Baghdad to make sure that city doesn't fall, because then all hell breaks loose.
Fallujah is halfway between it, so that's another staging area. But Ramadi, absolutely, because I mean, you look at where they're getting a lot of their money and resources. It's from either side. They're getting resources from Turkey, from Syria, and from Iran. So Baghdad's just right in the middle of that stuff. So eventually, if we keep going down the same route with lack of action, and I've called from the day one, boots on the ground, Baghdad will fall.
Can I ask a dumb guy question? The guy who's never been in the military, never served, doesn't know anything about anything, played Risk, thinks he knows pretty much about the military. How the hell does ISIS continue to advance or even survive when they don't have an air force? How can't we just wipe them out from the air? I understand that they could hide in caves and tunnels and so on, but that has to debilitate them, I would think, but I don't know anything. So you explain it.
We need to step up the game a little bit. Also, they have no regard for life. They'll just send in their men to do whatever. It's a bullet sponge. So we need to let them be that bullet sponge.
Joe's question is an interesting one. Why are we unable, if they're sending men in, why are we not able from the air to blow them up?
Well, the air is only so effective. You can only put so many bombs on target before you run out of targets that you can't find from the air. So that's why we need boots on the ground.
If you see, well, I guess it doesn't, it's not like they're marching in a column into the city.
I mean, I called in a lot of these airstrikes overseas. That was one of my primary jobs. And the only way to do that effectively is to have people down there to identify and engage them.
So when you say boots on the ground, and I know you have called for that, it's not a matter of sending in, I think John McCain said this, it's not sending in an entire, you know, division or battalion or whatever. It's having special forces, it's having the people who can spot to give us the information to do better from the air, yes?
True, but where do we get our resources from? We need a staging hub, which is why BIOP at Baghdad International Airport and the Green Zone were such important hubs for us. And that's why BIOP and Baghdad is still so important, because they get that. They capture the airfield, the main airfield. They capture the forward staging point for any potential U.S. forces, and that sets us way back.
Do you think we have special forces on the ground there now, though? I have to believe that we do. We're just not advertising it.
Well, let's just say we may.
Right.
Yeah.
I would think so. Heather.
Well, yeah, I mean, it certainly would make sense that we do, but, you know, the more that you read about it, the more that it's clear that what you say, Carl, is exactly right, that somebody has to be down there directing the airstrikes so that they know where to go, and it's not just, you know, one spot, it's people getting them out of their hiding so that you can actually get after them.
Shy of carpet bombing the entire region.
Right.
You're not going to have the tactical success we need to gain the steam we do to win this war.
It's interesting because we have the Shiites of Iran, fighting alongside Iraqi security forces, and they're not being very effective. And I'm surprised by that. Is this a matter of also supplies as well? Or
it's supply. It's also motivation. These people, the ISIS fighters, have the will of Allah, as they call it themselves. And these other guys are just fighting because, you know, America's giving them resources and they might be getting a paycheck and things like that. They're not fighting from their heart.
Right, and that seems to be the difference right now. And we see Iraqi forces fleeing, and the fight maybe because, as you said, their heart isn't in it. So, well, we'll be talking about this in the coming days, I'm sure. Coming up next, Senator Marco Rubio has issues explaining his position on the war in Iraq. Will it hurt his White House chances? Plus, will Lindsey Graham run for the highest office? Everybody else is. He is prepared to announce something. Keep it right here. This is the Daily Wrap.